Okay, so we're recording now. So can we start with a confirmation we can share this video publicly with a thumbs up? Great, thank you guys. Yes, it's our last meeting. It's the week to get teary-eyed. Yeah, I mean, I obviously set some stuff up in the executive team meeting, but I will just turn it over to you, Cassidy, and let you run with the meeting however you want. I think, just to start by saying that, I really, like I was sharing before, really honor and appreciate what you guys have done as the recruitment team, and with ISA2 for a good amount, and with Mariana when she was here, and others that have joined us along the way, Rebe recently, that, it's been a lot of the almost thankless work, right? That you guys have really done, that has been, has been and will be so impactful and so important going forward. And I know, like we talked about, not always easy to see in terms of like, well, where's all the students, type of thing. But I know you guys understand how we've been in this real big shifting process, right? And this is one of the places where it's really impacting. And that's, as I was sharing, what I got really present to over the weekend, as I really kept like working with this, like, who are we recruiting? What are we doing with them? How are we managing them? How, is all of this going to work? Because, well, I don't need to keep going in all this speculation part, but you guys understand that, especially when we're dealing with, what people are committing, what they're committing to for the next 3 months when they do a practicum or what have you with us, that we're also committing that we're going to be, providing whatever we put on your form, right? And we've, I think, done a great job of managing all of that during the transition this semester. And things have been shifting so much, as you know, that we don't necessarily want to be, having students come in for a certain position that we're all committed to, and then, a few weeks later realize that like it would be better if we weren't dealing with that right now, or you know what I mean? It's just like, it's a really tough spot to, but I think we're going to gain some clarity tonight as we talk it out and look at these positions and look at what can we say is going to be consistent, like recruitment, for example, and business, and some of these early things that we've identified. So with that, let me just turn it over. But again, just let's start with some claps for everybody. Thank you guys so much for all the great work and all the effort and energy and time you guys have put into all of this. It's all there, and we get to keep working with it. So it's really awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. And just wanted to reiterate that it's been a great semester. We've done a lot of good work, and it's, it's definitely building a foundation for the future. So no, it's not, not meaningless. It was definitely very meaningful work that we did. So excited about that. Honestly, I sort of was just going to leave this meeting mostly open-ended. I had just a few points to touch base on as far as, job postings and the chats. But I just sort of, mostly wanted to see what you wanted us to sort of focus on this week. So that's pretty much, I sent out, like I said, my WhatsApp chats, and got one student who said that they were interested and they were going to send an email to apply, which, by the way, thank you, Tatiana. That was a great move. I appreciate you sort of taking the lead on that and doing that work. That was much appreciated and noticed. So thank you for doing that.
Great. And I think, yeah, thank you, Tatiana. I don't want to overstep that. I was thinking of something. Thank you, Tatiana. Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think that maybe we give a certain number of days after they say yes, and we provide the email address, then maybe, and you guys tell me how many days you think, but then maybe I will send them a message personally and do more of the type of, direct, start inquiring what they're interested in and what they're looking for, and start having a, kind of direct conversation with them if we haven't gotten their application yet after a certain number of days. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that's a great.
basically, I would treat them like I do when I get an inquiry on Handshake, right?
Mhm.
When somebody applies on Handshake. So, just kind of start treating them like that. Like, hey, what are you interested in? Should we set up a meeting? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so do you want us to just send you, the people that responded back to us, their information, rather than the people that are ignoring us? Because they probably, after all this follow-up, if they're still not responding, it might be, I don't know. I don't know your thoughts. I just feel like if they're
Yeah,
still not responding, we don't want to harass them in a sense.
I understand. To be honest with you, I'm not tuned into when you say, all that we've reached out to them. I don't know like how many times and over what dates and that sort of thing. Maybe if I look at that, then I think if it has been a lot, then maybe it is excessive to do one more. What I'm thinking at the moment is probably like a message from me saying, we really appreciated that you showed an interest back then. We haven't received a response from you lately. We're going to keep, in communication with those that are interested. This is, if you are, that and if you're not, if we don't hear back from you, we won't be contacting you again. Something along those lines, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll take, so it is, so the communications with the people, there's all of the stuff that's in the chat itself that was between everybody, but now you've reached out individually from your individual accounts to the people that we talked about, right?
Correct.
And so did you reach out? You reached out to everybody that was in there, and of the everybody, these are the 3 that have replied. So it was like 5 each, like 10 total.
Yes.
And then of the 10, the 3 replied. So, okay. So yeah, I think that has it been a week? What day did you guys reach out? I don't remember exactly now.
I reached out on Thursday.
I sent mine this morning. I got really busy last week, so I sent mine today.
Oh, so you just got the one response today?
Yeah, it was pretty much immediately once I sent it, the person responded.
Got it. And you just sent it out last Thursday, Tatiana. Okay, great. So I think at this point, then for Tatiana, for yours, if we don't hear from them by Friday, maybe I'll send a message. And for yours, Cassidy, we'll wait until next Monday. So I guess we can just do them all next Monday. Okay. Whatever ones I haven't heard back from. So can you put that in the minute? Who's taking the minutes? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm taking the minutes for today's meeting. I completely forgot. No, but I was just gonna mention that I think it might be beneficial to possibly wait till finals are over, and like when school kind of wraps up, because then more people, they have more time on their hands, not like focus on studying, but to actually send out an application. And I also happened to mention one of them asked what the deadline was, and I said it was on a rolling, like we take like rolling admissions. So I don't know if I should have done that, but that's, we accept people, whatever. But I did encourage them to apply as fast as they could.
Okay, so I think that's really great. So let's have, now are these people in one of our Handshake systems, or are they not in Handshake?
It's hard to tell because from what I can gather from WhatsApp, it's just their phone number. Some of them don't even have like their names on there.
I said Handshake and that's not what I meant. I meant HubSpot, actually. Are they in, did we put them into any of our HubSpot databases?
No, but we can. I'm happy to do that. We don't have email addresses though, so we just have, their phone numbers that they responded to us with. Some of them we don't even have their names.
Right, right. Um, and HubSpot asks for email addresses. I'm trying to think, I know we have a career services office's HubSpot and we have a student groups HubSpot. Do we have a
Mhm.
student HubSpot as well? Did we do any other HubSpots? I felt like there was a third HubSpot that you created, Cassidy. Is it just
Yeah, there was one for the experts.
the experts? Okay, right.
I I I can find it. I have the information saved somewhere for the HubSpot accounts that you created. I just don't have it right in front of me.
Okay, but it sounds like we didn't have one for students
I
themselves,
don't
right?
think oh no, we did. We did create an account. I'm not sure that there was any information ever in it though, because the info that I exported was specifically, I exported the career services offices and the student groups and the experts. So the accounts were created, but I don't think they have any information in them.
Okay, so these would potentially be the first students we'd be entering. Because
Yeah.
I think these are, it's we don't necessarily have to use HubSpot now, but if not, then we're going to essentially replicate what HubSpot would do, which is fine in a document just to say, these are the 5 that got this message from Tatiana on Thursday. These are the 5 that got this message from Cassidy on Monday. Of them, this is what this one said, this is what this one responded, this is what this one responded. And then that way I can look at that and I can follow up with them. Well, it's still maybe you guys if it's this week or next week, but we can follow up with them however we should. I guess the next message is going to come from me anyway, just to get a kind of somewhat something on them. I agree that it would be better to do more of the specific type of follow-up after finals and stuff, and I'm fine with that. I just think that I just want to know whether we should be following up with them after finals or not at this point, right? Are they any kind of interested in having a conversation after finals? And that can even be part of the message, is that like we don't have to talk now, but we'd like to know if we're going to be talking to you or whether we should not follow up anymore, type of thing. So, okay, good. So in terms of that, so do you guys think it'd just be easier to do it in a Google Doc than to put them all into HubSpot at this point? I don't want to create a lot of extra work because I don't think we're going to long-term be following up with these students much longer anyways, right? Within the next couple of weeks or few weeks.
Yeah.
So, if it'd be more trouble than to enter all the data into HubSpot than it's worth, then I'm totally fine with tracking in a more arcane type of way. So I just want to make it easiest for you guys. You guys let me know what's the easiest way to manage this.
I think a Google Doc is fine. I like, even my thought is like putting screenshots of the WhatsApp chat in a Google Doc so that you can see what each of us said to them.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Perfect.
That's totally fine. Okay, great. Okay, so that covers that.
And then I pretty much just had, where we're going to go with this. If you are interested in us posting anything this week, or sort of how you want us to, wrap everything up. I know Tatiana and I both have to do our like individual lists, so that'll take up some time, but whatever else you want us to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's the thing is like you said, for the open format of the meeting, that I was thinking that we'd be doing some brainstorming around this. Like I said, especially, what things we feel like we can commit to in terms of positions and postings. And part of it too is, like we talked about, wanting to help get some direction from some of these career services offices. I just, as you guys know, I've been reluctant to send the career services offices to a website without any of the team pages on it, or even the team's page itself, right?
Mhm.
So again, just quick reminder, I mentioned it in the meeting, but just quick reminder of where we're at with it is that so we can just go to one of the So the outreach team. So this one, obviously we have as the built out model, but even this, so at this moment right now, Teams doesn't show up in our navigation, it's invisible. So like, even though you can see it, nobody can see it right now. So we're gonna put it right in between solutions and membership as a drop down, just like this. And when I say we're gonna do it, my plan is to do it tonight, because what I wanna put as a minimum on each team page is the playlist, which is already on each team page. If we go to the recruitment team page, it's got the recruitment team playlist here. But this needs to be filled in with the recruitment team description. And then again, this is just the placeholder. So this is what needs to have this is going to have our showcase video from the showcase as the second standard piece. And then the other pieces of, whatever the highlights are going to be. So even if it was just, and again, it will be tonight, just the playlist and the showcase video, and at least that's a kind of complete, so to speak, page, although also the team description, and I forgot to get into that in the meeting. So do we have a team description for the recruitment team now? I forget where we left that.
I don't know if I included that in the little blurb. It might be on the job description, but I'm probably would want to make it a little more detailed if I was going to move it to the web page.
Okay, so let's put that on our list and decide how much, hours or fraction of hours you and or Tatiana is going to work on that. So how do you want to manage that?
I can handle that. Like I probably will use part, like I said, of what we have on the job description and just refine it and make it a little bit more comprehensive. So I can do that.
Okay, how long would you expect that to take in terms of your estimation for the time tracker? And can you actually put it on now while we're talking about it to make it even more like, you don't even have to go back to it later. We're doing it live. So you can add that while you're doing that, which is great. So then we'll have the description, and then so the blurbs you've already provided. So it's just a matter of me adding them into the page for the written blurbs. And so for the video blurbs for the team, we didn't get into that in the executive team, did we? So there's a missing there.
So those are similar to what we're doing for the individual, just sort of explaining what the team as a whole does.
Yeah, basically it's for each individual highlight. It actually, no, what you're describing would be a team description video blurb, right? Like you were saying, what you were describing would be the team description video, right?
Okay.
And it's a good point that we could potentially have something like that. We haven't defined that. Let's leave that aside for the moment, because the written description, I think, is good next to our playlist.
Okay.
So I think that works. We could potentially have the written description and then a video description of the team. That could be effective too. What do you guys think?
I think it would be good. I don't know if we have time to do it this week, but I think it would be helpful to have on there like a quick, 2-minute video.
For each team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if the other teams could get that done. It's too bad we didn't think about that before. It's kind of in the showcase a little bit, but not like a tight video. Let's come back to that. Let's write that down. Let me make a note. Okay, video team description. So you mentioned not this week, Cassidy. Is that maybe something that you might be able to help with next week? Is that what you're imagining?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Sort of where my mind is going then for what we could do for time this week, unless something changes, is I was thinking almost similar to like that document that Tatiana made for the business team that's like so nice and pretty and shows everything you do. We could do that in a way where it's like sort of all the things that we are in progress with for the recruitment team, like a page that shows the links to all of the email templates that we made for the career services offices and has, you know, all of the job posting links that we've started on and all of that, so that even if we can't post it this week, there's like one perfect document that shows everything that's like getting ready to be done, if that makes
Yep.
sense, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It seems like that would be very helpful, actually. Don't you think?
Yeah, like even like with the WhatsApp chat and because there's a lot of stuff that we sort of have in flux right now that we've been working on, but if we're not going to be able to, you know, post it yet, then I think that would be the best way to make sure that nothing is like repeated or forgotten, you know, once, you know, this week wraps up.
I agree. I think that's a very good use of the two of your time. So that's great. I appreciate you thinking of that and coming up with that. Great. Awesome, Cassidy. Yes, let's do it. Cool. For sure. Yes. Right on. Money. Okay.
I'll create that document and I'll share it. And then Tatiana, you and I can work on it throughout the week and put sort of different things and we can chat about that.
Excellent. Very happy about that. That's great.
Just, yeah, I'm like, since we can't actually post all this stuff and do all of it right now, unless something, you know, were to change, that it'll be helpful to just have one place where you can go and find everything that we've been working on.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, good. So getting back to the team page, so you've got the blurbs, you're going to put it into the document in the new location.
Mhm.
You're going to next week work on a video description. So it's the video blurbs for each of them that you were just asking about. So it's the, you know, if we want to take, like, let's just say job postings as an example, you know, when Tatiana talks about the job postings for the highlight of her on her personal page, then she might talk about, you know, I wrote this part of this, you know, job posting, and I did this with this job posting, and it's going to be very personal and specific to the work that she did. And that's her video blurb about the job postings potentially on her page. But then on the team page, it's more of like, we created these job postings and we did this and we did this. And it's not like a personal accounting of it. It's like, this is, you know, what we did as a team around this particular thing. So do you see where they could be very different in terms of the content of the blurb from a team page to a individual page?
Yeah, I thought, I think I just got confused because I was just thinking that the showcase video was going to be the one that sort of like showed all of this. So you're wanting almost like more breakdown of it as like the showcase as the overview, and then, you know, the specific HubSpot or specific job posting type thing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that you bring up a good point that if it is just a cut from within the showcase video, then we could just use that. So it just kind of depends on whether however it's described in the showcase video can stand alone, or maybe it just needs like a couple, like a sentence or two introduction as a text on the screen before it shows the showcase video, or some other simple editing or something like that, if the showcase video will be sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you're right. The showcase video, is showcasing the highlights essentially. So it could be that. So that could be an option. So I would leave it in your hands and the other team's hands in terms of how you want to highlight, how you want to have a video blurb for each of the highlights. So if
Okay.
you want to extract something from the showcase, you totally can.
So as far as priorities go, because I don't know if I can finish all my individual stuff and this week, what would you prefer, that I focus on the team as a whole and then work on my stuff next week, or like vice versa?
Yeah, I think so. I think the team stuff first and then the individual stuff, just because, I would think that it's more likely that the career services offices and the students that are coming are going to look at the team pages before they look at the individual pages. So let's get the team pages as completed as we can.
Okay, I might have to update the spreadsheet we just made then and change those dates to next week, just so that I can focus on this.
I appreciate that.
But if that's fine with you, then I can definitely, have a few hours here and there to make sure that I get all this done next week.
Yeah, it's fine, especially since some of the other individuals will be completing their pages this week, and you have the luxury, so to speak, of some more time next week that others like Tatiana don't have. So we'll have some individual pages ready this week, and it's fine if yours is ready next week instead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that was pretty much the bulk of the stuff I had. I think that, most of, I guess, Tatiana's time this week will be focusing on getting that like in progress sort of document all pretty for you, so that you know where we're at with everything. And then, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted us to finish up, Jared, that we haven't talked about. I'll get working on that, the team page as well this week. Make sure that's all ready to go for you by, the dates that I said for my individual, we'll say that for the recruitment team as a whole instead now. So Wednesday and Friday, or whatever days I said.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that, Cassidy. That's great. Yeah, I think the only other, maybe it won't be the only other if I think of more, but I think the main other thing right now is for us to do some brainstorming, like I said, around these the higher priority postings that we had identified before, and seeing, what I feel like we can potentially commit to in the short term. Let's assume we're going to have the team pages up tonight at the basic level. They'll get more built out over the week, but even at the basic level, especially if we have, and which I also want to add, which is, a simple application on each of the pages, so that right on the page, apply now type of thing. So I'm going to add that to all of the team pages as well. So I think, again, that's, in my mind, sufficient to be reaching out to the career services offices, and also, potentially posting and having students show up on the site. So then it just comes down to like the job postings that we have posted, and, potentially reaching out to those offices to have conversations with them. I'm thinking, because in my mind, especially since we're not going to have team meetings next week, that for me, if it's not going to make a difference, and I'm trying to think this through, and you guys again can help me in real time with this, is how much we could accomplish with the career services offices, potentially this week and next week, versus if we wait until after the next leadership council meeting next Thursday. That's on the 16th. So I'm guessing then the following week, so the next week is going to be the 20th. So that's the week of Christmas. So I'm guessing career services offices are like closed over the week of Christmas and New Year's and that sort of thing, or yeah.
I would
So
think so.
So, so they probably, so let's imagine, so would you guys guess that they still would be in their office like next week through the 17th, and then it would be maybe the 2 weeks after that that they would be out Christmas and New Year's, and then they would be back after New Year's again? Is that what you guys are getting? Because they're not on the same, they wouldn't be on the full holiday schedule that your school would be, right?
No, I think usually it's like an abbreviated version, like a couple weeks versus like 4 or 5 that we get as students.
Right, because they still have work to do during that time, right?
So I know technically my finals week is next week, so they should, at least at my school, still be there, I would assume.
Mhm.
So
So maybe, well, I want to get some guidance from them, especially knowing, like, does it make a difference whether we're setting up meetings with them next week, or is it all the same to them and all the same to their students if we're doing it, the first week in January? But I guess as I'm saying that, I think we want to have postings posted throughout. I know we want to have postings posted throughout the whole winter break, right? We want to have some students seeing postings and showing up, during that time. So we have to have somehow have come to some conclusion. So it would be nice to have some conversations with some career services offices. So I think we might as well make the ask to be talking to some of those offices probably next week. Let me keep thinking that through, but I'm still in the mindset that as long as we've got the team pages on the site, I'm okay with having the conversations with the career services offices. Then it's more a matter of time of just like, how much time can I devote to meetings with career services offices, that type of thing. So let's set that aside. Let's say that it's likely that we'll set up at least like 1 or 2 meetings. I think probably definitely with your office, Cassidy, and probably with Ohio State, since that's been such a big one for us. Maybe Miami as well, since we kind of got started with the reach out to them. Okay, so let's just so we understand kind of what's happening, let's imagine that we're going to see if we can set up some meetings for next week. So I think also, as I'm saying that, Cassidy, if you want to be in on any of those meetings, to be able to have that as part of your portfolio, basically, on your student page, to have a video with a career services office with you and me and then whoever that is. Do you have an interest in that? Is that something you'd like to try to work in, or do you think it maybe doesn't matter too much to you?
I have a lot going on next week, honestly. I'm not opposed to it. I would be interested, but I have a lot of lots of things next week.
Okay, so I'll set it up and then let you know the time, and then if it's something that you feel like works for you, you can work it in, but we won't try to arrange it for you if it's not, it's more of like, do it if you can, if it works that moment, right, type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
So then you're going to reach out, Jared, or did you want me to send an email and sort of connect you in a way?
Let me just sit with it and see as I get more clear about how we're going to do it, how we'll do it.
Okay.
Do you have a preference either way? Okay. Okay, so let's leave it at that. Let's pull up the priority postings, that list that you had created within the last couple of weeks, Cassidy.
So here are the 6 that we decided were going to be our priorities.
Okay, so recruitment team, business team, video production, website, graphic design, and research. Okay, so recruitment and business and video production and website are all pretty clear to me exactly how they're going to get worked in. The graphic design, I think probably as well, because we'll just need a graphic designer for all of that sort of stuff, right? Especially the website and graphics in the videos and that sort of thing. And then the research team is where I'm still not sure exactly what their role would look like. It's not going to be the traditional research like we've been doing, because that's what the users of the system are going to be doing. So they still, and that's where we talked about, so they can be users of the system that are doing research and then coming back to the research team to talk about how we can update our protocols or change certain things or add whatever to make it better based on their personal experience, you know, doing research, right? So that's essentially what the research team could be doing. So then, do you have that other list, Cassie, that had the whole list of all of them and then showed which ones we have the ones for?
Let me find it really quick.
So let me think for a second.
There we go.
Oh, great. Hold on just one moment. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, good. So here's the list. Recruitment. Okay, so the other ones we had are the copywriter, the project manager, the strategist, the social media manager, the media relations, the journalism, outreach, production. Okay. So some of them make sense just as like the straight up team, right? The recruitment team is, hey, we're recruiting people for Uniting for Action. We talked about maybe the user layer being like helping to create protocols and nano actions and that sort of thing to help others recruit people to their own project or something like that, right? That was the way we were talking about kind of universalizing the recruitment process. Potentially the same thing with the business team. It's where it gets to be a little I don't know, it's where it's still not totally clear to me how we're like dividing these things up. I think in terms of the recruitment, let me ask you guys, do you think that it's stronger or more appealing to students about recruiting? It's not really not just the recruiting part. I mean, actually, we could more like look at outreach, production, and research to be talking about people's roles, doing those things for Uniting for Action, like like you guys have done, versus helping to establish like the national best practices in those areas for all the users of the system. You know what I mean? What do you think would be more appealing? You know, can we package both of those things in the same job description? It seems like it's getting kind of tough to marry those two different things together in a way that somebody that, you know, isn't intimately knowledgeable about our project would understand in one job description. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you'll be doing this for Uniting for Action, and then you'll also be doing this for the world type of thing. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
not sure that it would make sense to people if we're trying to put both things into one job description. And so if we're not, if we're picking one or the other for the job posting, and then, you know, when I'm interviewing them or whatever our process is going to be, then we can kind of describe the other layer when it's more of a conversation and it can make more sense in language than in written format. I'm kind of feeling like that's probably the approach we should take, right? Is to have the job posting be one or the other, and then rely on the, you know, verbal communications to explain more of the details once we're in a conversation with them about it. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the easier choice, like just the easier to comprehend, would be doing it in a way of like, this is what you'll be doing with Uniting for Action, and then
Yeah,
explain, because I think that's the side of it that's easier, like you said, to explain in written language, and it's a little bit more complex, the other aspect of it.
yeah, for sure. Okay. So now that makes more sense to me. And knowing that these existing descriptions that we have are written that way for what they would be doing with Uniting for Action, then it seems like, yeah, it's straightforward to get them out there now. Once we have the pages ready and the certain tweaks of those things, and then, you know, we'd take the applications and then we'll deal with it. You know, then it'll just be a conversation about how we're managing all of this. Okay, let's do that, because I do want to have us start receiving interest and processing them and all of that, especially um, especially while you're still here, Tatiana. Any of that we can do this week. So let me see what I can do with that tonight. I definitely want to get the team pages done. Let me see if I can also get the job postings totally finalized. I know they're pretty good. I know it's just like a couple things that we need to address. Okay, so I think that clarifies in my mind where we're going to go with it a little bit more, and then also setting up some meetings with some of these offices to have a conversation with them, help them give us some guidance about how to manage these things. Okay, so I think, oh, and then we had sending out the direct messages to the students. So is that something you guys want to start trying out this week as well, or what are your thoughts around that?
There's actually might be a small problem with that. I think that our trust score is a little too low. I think you have to be at 80 to send out messages.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for figuring that out. That's an important detail. And we've got a ways to go, apparently. So, okay, all the more reason for us to boost up our trust score. Speaking of which, that's another aspect for us to follow up with, is all of those schools that didn't follow up with us when we sent the previous message about readdressing our score and all of that, right? So, and we sent some messages via handshake as a follow-up, right? Did we send handshake messages to all of the schools, or did we not complete that?
I think I sent it to my original batch, but now thinking of it, I don't know if I ended up doing the ones for ISA2s. It was like that weird limbo time.
Right.
But of the ones that I sent for my original schools, I only got one response
On Handshake?
on Handshake. Yeah,
Wow. So
it's
was that like,
strange.
yeah, was that like 20 schools or how many schools was
I think it
that?
was like around 15 to 20. I don't know off the top of my head, but somewhere. I mean, it was a decent number for only getting one response. I don't know about you,
Right.
Tatiana.
I had more than you. I had at least like 5, and then a couple of them I was in active communication with, and then they requested more information, such as like the our address, and then they said once we get an actual address, they may be able to approve us. Another one, I was able to get actual approval once I sent them our business, what the I forgot what it was called, but like our business information. There was
Yeah.
some, and then I need to like there is someone that I need to continue to send messages to. So like one of them was requesting, actually a lot of them requested job postings so they could review it over, because our overview was too much of an overview. It didn't give specifics. So yes.
Okay. That's good to know. And I think then maybe we can, so you had like 15 or 20 also, right, Tatiana? But we had like all together, we had like 100 or something like that, right? So we still, it's not only ISA2s, there was also whether Mariana had some assigned or whether we gave Rebe some at some point. I mean, I think that there's like 100 schools, more than 100. I think it's 120 that we still have active rejections from, right? Something like that,
Mhm.
between 100 and 120. So
I think Rebe did send some messages, but
So
now I don't. Now thinking of it, I don't know whatever became of that.
I think she also said she had sent out some messages on Handshake within like, I think the second week she was here.
So we need to know, and this is where all of those we had talked about at the time, now I'm remembering, all those messages need to be documented within HubSpot so that we can look up who's been contacted, who hasn't, that sort of thing. So can we at some point, it doesn't have to be this week, Cassidy, if you're, with all the things, or Tatiana is ever going to work on this, but can we sometime by the time you guys are done, have the kind of like a report. I don't even know how we would do it, but like, here's the 100 schools and like, here's all of the, I guess it's just going to be statuses, right? Because we've got the different statuses for all the different schools. And so, we haven't heard back from these or whatever it's going to look like, just some way that we know where we stand with all the different schools and what we need to do next, especially if there's some that still haven't been contacted via Handshake. Even if we sent out all of the emails and everything, if there's some we didn't finish contacting by Handshake, let's get those done. Do you think there might be some schools like that, Cassidy, Tatiana, that were, like you said, were either ISA2s or I can't remember if Mariana had schools assigned to her as well. But somehow it seems there's a gap if there's just, two of you that have 40, let's say, and we have 100 or 120, it seems like there's a bunch left to be accounted for.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I am, now that we're talking about it, I'm sure that there are some that haven't gotten messages yet, just because I think it was during a transition time where IS2 was here, Mariano was here, and it was sort of a little chaotic there for a bit.
Yeah, I understand. So again, if we have, I want to be sensitive to you guys' time and workload and everything. If we have time, let's have some of those messages or all those messages sent by Handshake this week or next. As I'm saying that, I'm realizing that once you guys are gone, whatever responses are going to come, I'm going to have to manage. But I guess it's really just going to depend on whether we get a whole bunch of responses or not. If we're still getting this like small trickle, then that's fine. If I've got 20 responses, you know, the week after you guys are gone, that might be a little challenging, but that's going to be the week of Christmas. So they're not going to really necessarily be working then either. So
Are you notified, Jared, when we get responses? Do you see that, or do you have to physically like manually go into Handshake, look up the school, and then read the comments?
yeah, you know what? Now that you're mentioning it, we discovered that there was a notification process that I was not getting notifications for, right? So thank you for reminding me of that. Let me start sharing for a second so we can go into that and make sure that I am set up with the notifications I should be getting, because I do not believe I'm getting those notifications that you're mentioning, but I also, now that you're saying it, need to see which I think it's on my team email, team@unitingforaction.com, right? Is that our, is that
Is
where
where
I,
you get it for Handshake?
I think so, because that's, let me take a look at that too, to see where I would get. So remind me, where are the preferences again? Is it under my profile or company profile or?
I think it's on the left where you click on your name and you see it says user settings. I think that's where you find your notification preferences.
Oh, yeah,
Or the right. Did I say left?
you did. That's okay.
I
found it.
That's like the third time I've done that this week with lefts and rights being wrong.
It's this whole alternate reality we're creating. So it's handshake@vaccineconsiderations.com. Definitely gonna have to change that. But let me just see real quickly. I'm gonna bring up my email to see. Okay, so notification preferences. Okay, so let's see what should be checked that I don't have checked right. So email notification. So it just needs to be check marked, right?
I think like the biggest one would just be if somebody's commenting on some, like, here's my worry is what's going to happen is if, Tatiana and I send all these messages with comments for Handshake and then they respond, I know I'll get the notification through my email, but do you get it as well? Because if you don't, then, if they respond in 2 weeks and I'm gone, how will you know unless you manually go into that person's, you know what I'm saying? Like you go into
Yes.
theirs, you see the comment, you see where I got the response.
Yeah. So you would be called a coworker in this case, right?
Mhm.
So the school declines my job posting, so I should get an email about that, right? Someone comments on one of my postings, that's what you're saying, right? But it doesn't say someone comments on one of my coworkers' postings, right? Is that where you're saying that I might not get it?
I wonder though, because you're the owner of like the main account, if it's considering every posting you're posting.
Well, yeah, that's what I want. Let's take a look at my email to see what I've been getting, because I don't think so. School approves, well, I guess I should get an email for that as well. I guess I should get an email for that too. New answers are added to my questions related to my company. Do you know what that? You guys know what that is? I don't know. Should probably learn that. Although I'm realizing we're after 8:30 already. Sorry that we're running over. So let's see. Okay, so I guess it's.
I was gonna say for future reference, I think maybe having an employer user is waiting for approval or like it's like one of the employer settings. I think that could be useful just for future references.
Say that again, Tatiana, I didn't follow
So
you.
there was one about the employer comments or something. I don't, it was under employer, but I think maybe having a check mark for getting an email would be useful in the future. It's at the bottom.
Here, an employer user is
Because I think that might be for, I guess, like our career services. So then that's when someone writes a comment, that's when you'll get like, I think that's what it is. I'm not entirely too sure. That's when you'll get a notification for it.
employer user is waiting for approval. So many comments on employer approval. Okay, I don't know exactly what that is, but I guess we'll just do it just so we don't miss it. Okay, thank you for mentioning that, Tatiana. Let me just pull up my email real quick where the handshake is. Oh, geez, now I'm looking at it. Wow, I'm realizing just now that I haven't looked at this account in a really long time. It's totally off my radar that I should be checking the handshake account. So normally in the handshake account, I get all of these like career, we've got, register for our job fair type of thing. That's what most of these are, registration, but it does, I haven't been looking if I've been getting notifications. So I'm looking still, all of these are career fairs. So it doesn't look like I'm getting the notifications you guys are talking about. It doesn't look like I've got a notification, right? These are all just career fairs, right? So here's one. So that's the first notification, is that University of California, Irvine declined your school approval, your lack of activity and missing information. Please resubmit your request. Okay, so going back, so that's the most recent notification, and that was November 10th. So, and you guys are saying you guys have received notifications since then regarding the interactions with some of these schools, like when they post a reply to your post, then you get a notification. Have you gotten any since November 10th, so we can see if I got them?
I received one on the 11th
On
from
November 11th.
the University of Texas Medical. I think that's who it is.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm not getting those types of notifications. So I think what we'll have to do, we'll have you guys send out some of these notifications, and then hopefully we'll get some replies, and we'll see, now that I've updated some of the preferences, whether I get a notification when you get a notification. So let's definitely have that on our radar to confirm or confirm that it's not happening during this process. And then if it's not happening, then we do have to figure out a workaround for me to continue to be able to know how to follow up with schools. Maybe it's just I send a message to all the schools afterwards, and then that way my message is the most recent, and then that way when they reply, I get the notification, right? But that'll be a lot of messages that I'm sending. So let's see how things go with the notifications. Okay, I think that's good, and I think that yeah, so getting back to what we were just saying, so you'll identify all of the schools that haven't been contacted, and we'll at least contact some, and then we'll see what replies we get, and we'll see what the notifications are, and we'll see all of that. So does that sound good? Does that fit within our flow of time and availability and all of that? To put that on the list as well. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So is there anything else then for us to cover tonight?
No, I think that was pretty much covered it.
We covered a lot.
We did cover a lot, yes.
Especially as much as we didn't think we were going to be covering that much. We covered a lot. So I appreciate that. I appreciate Cassidy, Tatiana, all that you guys have been doing. It's been a great experience. You know, I've really appreciated you guys. I've really appreciated the recruitment team and you know, what the recruitment team has been up to. Like I shared before, all the work, all the behind the scenes work that you guys have been doing has been amazing. I'm glad that you you know, feel the meaning in it and really appreciate the accomplishments that you guys have had. It's really been awesome. I totally honor and appreciate you guys. I'm gonna miss being with you and doing all this with you. I'm glad we're gonna get a little more time for the rest of the week and next week, Cassidy, but you know, in terms of our team, our last team meeting, this is it. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Let's have last claps all around for the team, for the recruitment team. Yes. Awesome. You guys are great. It's been a great experience. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.